Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on Friday evening. And I am so happy. I am so happy to see you all and to be here with you all. And hi to Jamie, Kimmy, JG, Jody, Becca. Becca, I'm sorry I was a couple of seconds late, but you know, I'm in a hotel room, not at home. Things were a little bit more challenging for me, so please forgive me. I did my best, you know that. And I am here. Oh, thank you, Isabel. You have no idea, tears in my eyes, how much I appreciate that. Thank you for that. I want to know, can you all hear me? Hi, Giovanna. I just want to know whether you can all hear me okay, or whether I need to put my earbuds in. Hi there, Sharon. Okay, that's good. All right, so do you want me just to tell the story and you can ask your questions as you go along, or how would you like to do this? Because it's quite a story. Hi, Sandy, good to see you. And congratulations on your A1C, Sandy. And Sandy, all right, so everybody, you have to know. Oh, I'm cheering up too, Jody. I want to tell you, about 48 hours ago, I did not think that I would be alive to tell you this story. Okay, so basically what happened, and I'm certain people will come in late and we may have to retell parts of it. Is that okay with everyone? Because it is a story I think that a lot of people are going to want to be aware of. So first of all, if you're watching this on the replay, understand that there was a fire in my home 48 hours ago or something like that. And this is what happened. Thank you for the kind comment about the hoodie. It's part of my new fall wardrobe that I had to go out and buy today because, Becca, I have been wearing the same smoke-ridden clothes for 48 hours. I did wash some of the underwear, but you know, okay, so let's tell the story because it is really, really important. I was sitting watching Endeavour. I don't mind telling you, that's what I was watching. It was about 10:30 at night, and everything was, as they say, copacetic. You know, everything was cool. I was sitting there watching, you know, and thoroughly enjoying it, and suddenly the noise from hell arrived. And then the words, "There is a fire, get out. There is a fire, get out." And I'm going, what the? Now, you know me, did I get out? No, you know I didn't get out. I'm going, where's there a fire? So I went hunting for the fire. How many of you understand that? And the first thing I thought was I could smell burning plastic. I know that smell. So I thought, I wonder if it's my computer. Maybe the battery in my computer did that. Hi, Lauren, good to see you. So anyway, I went rushing to the middle section of my house. For those of you who don't know, the back section of my house has my ensuite bathroom and bedroom, and a little bit of it is the guest bedroom. And then the center part of my house is the guest bathroom, the laundry, and my big craft room. And then the front third of my house is my kitchen, dining room, living room, and TV area. So I went from the TV area, thoroughly relaxed, bleary-eyed watching, to into the craft area. No, I couldn't find it. And then as I stood in the craft area, it's a sight I hope none of you ever have to see. The black smoke was billowing out of my bedroom. And I'm going, well, I guess I'm getting closer to the fire. You know me, I'm going, oh, I think I almost said, that's a good sign, I'm getting closer. Went into the bedroom, wasn't there. And then I went into the bathroom. And I want to tell you something, that when I got into the bathroom, this was a sight I hope none of you ever see, because it really is an amazing sight. But My whole of my toilet seat was in flames, literally flames shooting up from my toilet seat. And I'm going, now that's a first. Never seen that before. And you know, I was going, where's my camera when I need it? You know, and I'm in the middle of all this black billowing smoke in the meantime, which we know was pretty toxic. And so then I thought, think first, don't panic. Think first. Plastic and water, can they mix? Yes. So I went, okay, turn the taps on, and now I'm hucking water onto water in the toilet, like that goes. So I'm hucking water onto the toilet seat like this, and I get it out. Very proud of myself. So then why is it still so hot? And then I saw something drop in front of me. Luckily not on me, but saw something drop in front of me, and it was molten plastic dropping in front of me, and I looked up. And what I saw was this whole section where the vent was, the extract fan for my bathroom was just in flames. And I mean, you guys have known me for a long time, and I'm looking at this going, now that, Sal, that's pretty serious, stuff. So then I go, I know, get out, rush for the fire extinguisher. First thing I did was blast the toilet seat just in case. And then I doused as much as I could in the ceiling. And when those flames died down, I then stuck I've got a bit to tell you. Remind me, Jody, please. There's a bit ahead of this about the fire extinguisher. Then I shoved the pipe of this fire extinguisher up the hole, and I blasted it quite a bit up there, because what couldn't I see? You know, I don't know what up there has caught. Just want to go back a step. When I rushed for this fire extinguisher, now we've all read the fire extinguisher instructions, right? What are they? Can any of you remember? Because it's a good thing in case you ever get into a fire. What do you have to do when you pick up a fire extinguisher and you need to use it? Do any of you know? I'm talking about a home one, not remove the pin. Very good. Everybody knows that. Pull out the pin. I want to tell you, when you are in a flat panic, you're going, pull out the pin, pull out the pin. And then you're going, where is the pin? Where's the pin? Where's the pin? Where's the pin? And then I got the pin, and I tell you, I didn't care what I was meant to do. I just ripped the pin out of there. What I didn't realize was that I was actually holding the handle at the same time, and it was facing towards me. And I actually managed to fire retard myself. Now, Big Brother Jeff, when he heard that story, said Sal's got to be the only person we know that's smart enough to put fire retardant all over herself before she goes to fight a fire. Oh, Kimmy, I want to tell you that fire extinguisher that saved my house, and that's what they told me. I saved my house by what I did. That fire extinguisher was way overdue. So just so you know, they still work, even though they might be overdue. I had a newer one, but the bigger one was the one that was overdue. So here I was, covered in white, very pretty sight, you know, no contouring whatsoever, just white. My clothes were white, everything. And then Lauren's saying, suggest I get checked out. I've been totally checked out by the EMTs, and I will, that's part of it. Not the foam stuff, the powdery stuff, Becca. So anyway, so now I go back in and I did what I did. Now, what I did was I forced the fire. Can you imagine that? By, first of all, getting rid of the flames, and then pushing through and then spreading the retardant up. I pushed the fire into the ceiling, into the attic, not into the house. Does that make sense? All right. Does that make sense to you all? That what I physically did was to get the fire out of the house and push it back up into the ceiling. Why? Fires go up. What I didn't want was the fire down. How many of you have heard me say there were a couple of things that I needed to do with my house, and one of them was get a new roof? Yeah. So anyway, I did what I could, and then I flew outside because I knew I was, oh, by the way, I was smart enough. I don't think I'm going to be, well, I was smart enough that all the time I could, I had my nose covered. Which, you know, it's difficult to do when you're holding a fire extinguisher, but I was sort of multitasking as I did it because I knew those fumes were horrific. Anyway, so then I needed to get out of the house, and I got stupid blinds. And I keep saying I need new blinds, and I want to tell you, I took those blinds and I just ripped them off because I needed to get out of that door. And I just ripped those blinds off the thing and I got out. But what I did is I got out and I kept watching the hole. And I still had the fire extinguisher. So then, Nasha, I'll tell you all about the medications and everything else if you just be patient with me. So then the next thing was, and hi to you, Nasha, sorry, I don't think I said hi. The next thing was, I go, it looks like the fire is out, but I have no idea if it is. Next thing, 911. Hi, yeah, which service do you require? And I went, fire. And she said, did you say fire? I said, yes, I did. I said, fire. And, and she said, at what location? And I said, my home at, and I gave the address. And she said, I have you living in Surrey. And I said, this is not quite the time to have that discussion while my house is on fire. I assure you I have moved. And the address I just gave you is the one that's on fire. You know, can you imagine? I'm going, you're going to have an argument about where I live at this point? Oh, Bernice, you have no idea about the calmness thing. I heard this time and time again. It's part of the story. So I said, I really don't think this is quite the moment, ma'am. Perhaps we could have that discussion after the fire's up. You know, anyway, so then I phoned my next door neighbor. You know, you've met the neighbors, right? Betty Ann and Brian. And I got hold of Betty Ann. I said, Betty Ann, my house is on fire. And she said, what do you need? I said, Brian. Well, what I didn't know was Brian had just got into the bathtub, and they've got one of those step-in tubs. And apparently the story goes, you've never seen anybody get out of one of those by vaulting over the edge of it the way that Brian did. And yeah, I agree. I'll just discuss the address book later. Yeah. I needed, anyway, so the thing was that I didn't know that, you know, at the time that I made the call, poor Brian was in the bathtub, but he did a great job to get to me. And he said, what can I do to help? I said, just stand there. And he came with a flashlight and everything. Just stand there, be with me. And could you give me a hug right now? And then, let me just read what Sakura is saying. I've been warned about that, to tell them as well when you change addresses. It was a she, not a he. I have to admit it was a woman, Bernice. Anyway, so I said, you know, Brian, just help me process for a second. This is what I've done. And by now the smoke is clearing out through my bedroom patio doors. And then I said, Brian, keep an eye on that hole, because I am not sure if it's out. And if you see the slightest sign of fire, tell me, because, you know, then I'm going back in with the fire extinguisher. And I needed to get something to drink because I knew I you know, inhaled a lot of toxins and stuff, and I wanted some liquid in my body to help process it. So I even though I shouldn't have done, I went back in and I went and grabbed something to drink, and that was good. And by the time I came out, Betty Ann was there. And what do you need? A hug? Anyway, so Betty Ann realized the devastation that was going on, and she knew I would not be sleeping in that house. And she said, I'm going to go and leave you with Brian. If you need anything, just text me or get him to text me. And what she did is she went home to go make a bed for me. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, it was, said Bernice. What happened is the extractor fan in my ensuite bathroom, the bearings in the fan that makes it go around, there are bearings in there, those bearings seized. Then it was metal spinning against metal, which caused sparks. And that's it. I'm getting to that bit, Kimmy. I'm getting to have I been checked. So just be patient with me. I'm trying to give it to you in fairly good order. So the next thing is one fire truck arrived. And I said to them, I wonder if you could help me. I'm not quite sure. And they are screaming at me. And I said, I think I've got it out. And they go, no, you haven't. And I said, what? And they said, get out of there now. And so I said, okay. And they're pointing up. And when I got far enough away and looked back, there were flames shooting through my roof. And I went, oh, well, I got most of it out. Right? Anyway, so then I let them go and do their thing, because that's what they're good at. And in the meantime, this cop is there. And by the way, within minutes, 3 other trucks arrived. They took it very, very seriously. 3 other trucks arrived. So I had a 4-alarm fire going. And the cop said to me, name? And I said, do you want the whole thing or the abbreviated version? He said, no, the abbreviation. I said, fine. I gave it to him and spelled it out. And in the meantime, I'm watching, billowing out of my house. And he looked at me and he said, are you normally this calm? And I said, well, it depends. I haven't had this experience too many times in my life, so I don't know if I can answer that honestly. And he said, I cannot believe you're standing there watching your house in flames and you are talking to me like we are having, a couple of beers down at the pub. And yes, in the meantime, I've got the camera out, right? And I'm busy snapping a couple of happy snaps. Because I knew you guys would want to see it. And then I said, by the way, what is your name, young man? And he said, Trevor. I said, oh, thank you for that. In this moment of high stress, thank you for just saying Trevor. I'm Sal. And Trevor and I got on really well. And then the one neighbor that has been very upset with me because she doesn't think I socially distance enough for her and all the rest of it, whatever, she came out and she stood in front of me and, well apart, and she said, I am so sorry. Is there anything I can do for you? And it was from her soul. And I said, yep, but I've got a problem. And she said, why? And I said, it would require that we don't socially distance. You have no idea how much I need a hug right now. And she just came forward and gave me the best hug you can imagine. It was just amazing. And so then I thanked her. And now the fire people are going in with axes. Not a good sign. When you see people rushing in with axes into your home, you know that it's not going to be pretty, right? And then they got the big hooks. And I said to Trevor, that doesn't look good, does it? Doesn't mean it's out. He said, no, I don't think so. And I said, okay. And and then when I said, well, I needed a new bathroom. I mean, really, what are you going to say? And then the paramedic with the fire people said, ma'am, I need to check you out. And I said, yes, of course you do. Hang on a second, let me read what's saying here. Becca's saying, axes, wow, so traumatizing. I'm glad you're okay. So they weren't coming to me with the axes. They were going to the house, Becca. So Nyasha's saying, well, you teach how to stay calm during times of intense situations. So you being socially distant during that time is a no-no, yeah. Pat, so good to see you. Thank you, honey. So anyway, now you have to imagine this. This is now 30 great big red fire truck. But this was the night, by the way, just so you all know, this was the night when we were expecting torrential rain and incredibly high winds, enough that they said, tie down your furniture sort of stuff. And you understand, I'm watching my house in flames, and I'm not that far away from my neighbors. So not only am I at risk, but I could be putting my neighbors at risk. So it was more than a little bit traumatizing. But it is what it is, and that's what fire people do, so I was leaving them alone. Becca saying, I've been wondering for a long time, you really would be such a wonderful speaker for a TED Talk, how to deal with high stress. Oh, thank you. It's what I used to do. Anyway, so now listen to this, guys. So now they put down a very thin little blankie on the place where the guys put their big boots to get up onto the truck and said, why don't you just sit here for a little while? And I go, okay. So I sit. Now, you have to know, wait a minute, I'll show you what I was wearing. Wait a minute. I'm smelling it to see if I got the thing up, but it's a nice thing, Becca, thank you. Anyway, so here I was, t-shirt, no sleeves. That's what I was wearing. I had pants on, but that was what I had on top. Now, all the firemen have got the big jackets on and everything else. And meantime, the rain starts. And I'm sitting there, and they're all got the big windshield, the big stuff on. And I'm sitting there, I'm the victim here. I'm the one that's probably in shock. Probably I should have a blankie, is what I thought. Oh, did I have the urge to smoke? Absolutely, Pat. I was this far away. Thank you for asking me that. Sharon saying, what you've been through is similar to me in the tornado. I'm so thankful you are safe. Well, I am too. Did they bring me blankies? No, I don't know why they didn't give me a blankie. But this is all part of the wonderful story. Because here I am, sitting there, and by now they've got oxygen out, and they're giving me oxygen. I said, am I that much in stress? And he said, no, actually, quite honestly, I don't know how you're doing this, but you have to be the most calm person I've ever seen watching their house on fire. You have a very unusual way of coping. I said, well, as long as I'm doing it, I'm fine. I just want to make sure that the reason you're giving me oxygen isn't because, there's something, I'm kidding myself that I am doing well. You know what I mean? I needed to know that. But here's the most amazing thing. From one of the houses came a neighbor that I have never seen in the 7 months that I have lived where I live. Never seen him. Heard about him, never seen him. And what is he carrying? But this incredibly warm blankie. Shirling, and he just didn't care that the fire people didn't want him near me or near the truck. He just said, excuse me. And he looked at me and he said, you need a blanket. And I took it. And I, with the tears running down my face, said, I don't even know who you are, but thank you so much. And then he told me his name. And I still have the blankie because I'm actually probably going to ask him if I can pay him for it, because you understand it has such meaning to me now. Probably more meaning to me than it has to him. And so I will wash it and return it, but I will ask him I'm going to ask him if he'll let me buy it from him. So in the meantime, now they asked me, would I like to be checked out by the paramedics, the proper paramedics, the ambulance people themselves? I thought that was a really swift idea. And I said, I didn't say, is this going to cost me or whatever? I just said, yes, I know I have been in toxic fumes and I need to be checked out. And so they sent for the paramedics and they arrived. But in the meantime, one of the fire chief is looking at me and he said, are you normally like this? And I said, normally like what? And he said, you are so mellow, it is almost frightening. And I said, but am I making sense? Am I in reality? Or are you trying to warn me that I've gone into some sort of fugue state? He said, no, you're making perfect sense and you're sounding absolutely rational and totally grounded. He said, that's what's got us all confused. Nyash was saying you can invite him over for a cocktail whenever he wants. An entire community coming out to assist you. Oh, yeah, there's more coming, Nyash, wait for it. Yes, and I agree with him because you might be in shock, and that's what I wanted to check. Was I said, am I showing symptoms of shock? Is that why you're saying? He said, no, you're not showing any symptoms of shock at all. He said, except you did say that you were cold. I said, well, I was sitting out in the pouring rain for quite a while, before the blankie arrived. And so anyway, but the interesting thing is paramedics arrived. And they introduced themselves with their first names, which I really loved. And Madeline was the main paramedic. And she said, is it okay if I take your blood pressure? I said, I think that's what you're here to do. And she said, exactly. So I said, go right ahead, And then she asked me if they could take my oxygen levels and everything else. And I said, sure. Do whatever it is you need to do. You know what to do. And just tell me what you need me to do, other than shut up. So she started to take my blood pressure. And she took it and she said, wow. I said, oh, really? And she said, no, wow, that is amazing. Can I ask you, what is your normal blood? No, she didn't say that. She said, you've got normal blood pressure. And I said, what is it? And she said, it's 137/80. I said, no, that's not normal. That's high. And she said, what? I said, it's normally 130/80. And she said, no, ma'am, what I'm saying is, you've been in there fighting a fire, from what I hear, that you actually saved the house by what you did, is what I've been hearing. And you've been in all this toxic smoke and everything else, and your blood pressure is just 7 points over your normal. I mean, that's a good thing, right? She said, unheard of. So I said, okay, fine. So then she took my oxygen levels. Now, what have I been breathing in? And they're busy listening to every part of my lungs. That they're waiting to hear my lungs collapse, or this happens, or that happens, or whatever. And she said, okay, now I've got to just explain something else to you. And I said, okay, what's that? And she said, your oxygen level is amazing. She said, it's amazing for somebody just walking around. I said, hey, and I smoked for most of my life. And she said, that's, yeah, really. But she said, you've been breathing in all those fumes. And she said, and your oxygen level should be almost totally depleted almost after breathing all that stuff in. But she said, here's what I want to do. And I said, what's that? She said, I want to put you back on oxygen. I said, what, in case it's a fluke and I, just having a moment of good oxygen? And she said, no, she said, because I think it's important that you get some good oxygen into you. I said, fine. So back over with the mask and they zap it up and they give me another lot of oxygen, which is, just like a CPAP. Oh, and then they're going to explain to me how that one-way valve works in an oxygen mask. And I go, I'm a CPAP user. I know all about that one-way mask. Don't worry about it. Just stick it on. Let's go. So then they took it off and they took my oxygen again. And they said, to see if it shifted at all. And apparently that really confused them as well. By now, I am very aware that the only reason the flames have stopped is because of the amount of water that has gone into my house. And for those of you who've seen the pictures of my house and my bedroom, and my bathroom, you will know that sort of amount of water could only have done one thing. And it could only have gone onto the tile floor, into the bathroom, and then run all the way into my bedroom. And then, I mean, gallons and gallons and gallons of water, which apparently the ceiling came down. So not only gallons and gallons of water, but all the crud that's up in an attic came down with it. And then all that water ran through my bedroom, over my carpeting and carpets that I've got in my bedroom, and then down through the house. And then, you know, you sort of think about it and you think, yes, you can't unsee the pictures. I actually sent Jody some. I'm going to show some of you the pictures in a second. But, you know, you realize, I don't even know if I want to see inside there. You know what I mean? It's like, you know that your pretty house is now, you know, a bomb zone is what it's going to look like. And yeah, it's water damage, broken glass. You see, Jeannie, I want to tell you, Jeannie, you cannot know how many times I thought of you and thanked you for all the preparation you gave me. I really have to say that, because I kept going, it's only 1/3 of the house. Jeannie lost the whole lot. But they did say, Jeannie, if I hadn't done what I did, the whole house would have gone. And so would my neighbors probably. Anyway, so now all the water goes and does that. And then what did I do next? I let them carry on. I realized I was, you know, of no to them whatsoever. And they asked if I wanted to go to the hospital. And I said, I'm not a medical person, you know, and I said to the EMTs, you guys do this all the time. I have a fear of going to the hospital because of COVID. I need you to know that. But if you think that I should be going to the hospital, you need to tell me that, because if so, I will go. And she said, quite honestly, ma'am, with your blood pressure, with your lungs, with your air intake and everything, I really don't think you need to. And I said, that's good. Okay. And yeah, she said, of course, she's surrounded by angels. She's one herself, helping people cope, work unwanted stress, and a whole lot more. I believe in the power of karma. Give out good energy and it will come back. Well, now I get to Betty Ann, who's got the coffee on, and, you know, because she knows I'm gonna be over there. So I go and she hands me a cup of coffee and a whole Aero bar. You know, for those of you who don't know, that's milk chocolate that's got little, I like to call it milk chocolate with osteoporosis. You know, it's got those little holes in it all over the place, air bubbles. But she gave me a whole bar. And I want to tell you, that didn't even touch sides. Who cares if I'm pre-diabetic? That just went and down. Mint Aero was exactly what it was, Becca, but a giant one. It was wonderful. Too bad it wasn't a Mars bar. I agree, Pat. Sharon's saying, before the tornado, I needed a new roof and a central air. When my dad said, my crushed house, he said, well, babe, you're going to get a new roof. That's exactly. And I said, I didn't want a whole new house. Yeah. I want to tell you something. Hi, Benj. And it's so good to see you, Benj. And thank you for all the support in the last 48 hours. I really appreciate everything from you. And by the way, Chris Riley has been wonderful, Benj, just so you know. He has been sending me wonderful support. And amazing how many Rilerians have been sending me messages. Anyway, so here's the thing. I'm sitting there, and now the fire marshal comes. And he introduces himself. So now, this is now one step up from the crew. I've now got the top guy coming. And he talks to me. And by the way, they got me to repeat the story, I would think at least 6 times. At least 6 times. And I kept going, couldn't you just get this information onto your digital things so I don't have to keep repeating it? But I did realize part of what they were trying to do was to work out what had happened. And did my story change at all? Or was it the same story? And that really, and at least one said, what do you think happened? I said, I am not an expert at this. Yeah, you guys are. But if you ask me what I thought happened from what I saw, I said, I think something happened to the fan. The fan caught fire. The dripping plastic from the, what do you call it? The cover of the fan dropped onto the toilet seat, which then burst into flames. That is what I think. But you guys will be able to see that. Would any of you like to see what was left of the fan when I actually saw it today, and I thought I'd show you. So this is part of the fan. And then this is another part of the fan. And then that's the last part of the fan. So being who I am, I'm sitting there drinking my coffee, and I said, to the fire marshal, I've always said to my viewers, be careful what you ask for because you're likely to get it. And I said, I cannot tell you how many times over the course of the last 7 months I have said, I really need a new bathroom. And I said, from what I hear, it's possible I'm going to get one. And then I said, and I've also, cannot tell you how many times I've said, the roof needs to be replaced. I said, are we looking at 1/3 of the roof at the moment, or is it more? I'm trying to see the good in this. All right, like if I can see the good in it, then I can laugh and cope with it. And he looked at me and he said, "Do you always cope this way?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "Well, I heard from the other people how mellow you are, but he said this is just amazing that you can." Just go, oh yeah, my house is burning down, but I might get a new bathroom now. Yeah, and Kemi's saying, I have so much fear because I've been in 2 fires. I have so much experience of fire because I've been in 2 fires and survived them. You see, that's how I look at it. Of course, I was terrified. I'm not... I don't want you to think that I was a happy camper. I assure you, I was scared, really scared. Anyway, so now I said to the fire marshal, when I realized what I said, but you do know I didn't start it, right? So I could get a new bathroom. And he looked at me and he said, ma'am, he said, we've already seen the damage and we can already see the fan. It's on the floor now. And we can already see exactly what happened. And we can already see, what do they call it? The point of origin, I think they call it, right? In a fire. He said, we can see the point of origin. There's no maybe about that. And it isn't you with a little matchstick somewhere. And I said, okay, good. Then I can carry on my story. Yes, Kimmy, a very good point. Kimmy's saying she was calm both times, but it's afterwards when you start to process it that you have the reaction, yes. But I wasn't totally calm. I cannot say I was totally calm. I was using some language that would have turned the air even more blue than it was. Actually, the air was black, not blue, because it was plastic. Bernice is saying the first thing I always think is to get important documents and the medical stuff out. Okay, fine. All right, so you want to know what did I take out first? Samantha. Hi, Samantha. Samantha's saying, I've been stressing out about them seeing you as a suspect since you mentioned that they pointed out how calm you were. Yes, I'm certain that was part of their processing. And they kept asking me the same story. Yes, Sharon, you're absolutely right. The first things to leave my house were my computer, my tablet, and my phone, and the connecting leads, just like this, and I ran and dropped them. And that's when the fire people told me to get out. because it was on fire. And then the fire guy came to me and he said, is there anything that we need to get out of that house for you? Yes, Pat. CPAC machine was on my list, but that came much later. The next things I asked them to get out was my passport, my passport, and what's the next obvious thing that I should have taken on the first one? Passport and wallet. Wallet. Birth certificate, I wasn't worried about. I have a picture of my birth certificate. Driver's ID is with my wallet. That's why I needed my wallet. Okay? And so, by the way, I really recommend that you do that. If you haven't done that in your life, your passport and your driver's license, take pictures. Store them somewhere confidentially. Store them somewhere that has a passcode on it. Because, you know, at least then if they go up in flames, you can go, here it is. This is it. And the other thing I have done with my passport and so forth is I have taken them to a notary public, had them photocopy my passport and so forth, and then stamp it as a true photocopy of my, and notarized. Doesn't cost very much to do that. So that if ever I lose my passport, I've got all the information and it's notarized to be correct. You know, it's not that I took the photocopy, they did. It's a certified true copy. Thank you, Benny's. All right, so now then, about now, the neighbors that couldn't get to me earlier, thanks, honey. Now the neighbors who couldn't get to me earlier are starting to get to me, right? And one of them, hi, Erin, good to see you. And one of them stood there and she, you know, you got to understand, you remember I said that what I really wanted to do was to create a sense of community spirit in where I was. So this one neighbor's standing there and she goes, Sal, you know, I know you're very concerned about the community spirit here, but don't you think this is a little too far? We would have come and just had coffee if that's what you needed. And I want to tell you, I just didn't know what to do. I thought it was beautiful. You know what I mean? And it was so lovely to be able to laugh. And then, long story short, they didn't leave until about 1:30, 2 o'clock, I would say. And then, yeah, good vibes during those hard times. I want to tell you something. I really was very grateful. All right, so now I want to take you back to yesterday. Yesterday was the day that all the people came to inspect it. You know, once, you know, the temperature had dropped down properly and everything else. And I want to tell you, I think 6 different people, I had to be there, but about 6 different people came. And they were different assessors and then restoration people and everything else. And they were there backwards and forwards with me for most of the day. It took a very long time. And I was already, Anyway, I was very, very tired, obviously. I obviously didn't sleep very well. I didn't sleep at all, I don't think, that night. But I was happy to be alive. So, you know, it wasn't a big problem for me. It was just like, hey, I don't really mind if I don't sleep. I'm breathing, that's good. And then they reconfirmed that it was very obvious what had happened. They came and told me at least twice that they're not sure what made me do what I did. But what I did saved my house. Two of them told me that. They said, you know, by pushing that fire out of your home and into the roof, you saved your house. If you hadn't done that, although we would never recommend that you do it, we would tell you to get out and call us. But he said, because you did what you did, you still have a house. And although it's going to be quite a job to give it back to you, the truth is that had you not done it, you probably would have lost the whole thing. So Sharon said, were there any good-looking firemen, and did I get their phone numbers? Funny you should say that, Sharon. The answer to that was absolutely. And I did say, will I be seeing you on this year's calendar? You know, I mean, what are you going to do? Oh, Becca's saying, can you bottle up the smarts that you have? I'm not sure if I'm necessarily smart. And so they came, and now it's a case of, now they're going to tell me what's going to happen. Now, do any of you remember, I don't know if I discussed this with you, but when I came to insure this place, I have never insured a manufactured home, and therefore I had no idea how to do that. Trevor was the cop. He was gorgeous. And so what I did is I totally over-insured it, because I reckoned if I over-insured it in the first year, by then I would have a chance to talk to my neighbors and find out how they insure theirs. You understand? And then I'd be able to get it down a bit. And when the insurance people came, which they did, and they said, you've got one heck of a package. I said, do I? And they said, oh yeah, you've paid a very high premium to have a very strong package. So I said, I think I'm going to need it, aren't I? And he said, well, let me tell you something. From what we've seen, we discussed it, this is going to be probably over $100,000 to bring you back to your beautiful home. By the way, I don't know if any of you can relate to this. I kept saying to them, if I'd known there was going to be a fire, I would have tidied up the kitchen. But I was in the middle of prepping for the broadcast I was going to do today. I was getting stuff organized and everything. Yeah, kitchen was a total nightmare. And I said, I'm so sorry. It would have been tidy if I'd known. And they're just looking at me going, really? So anyway, so they reckon 100,000, and they originally said 3 to 4 months. The conversation I had today was probably 6 would be more realistic. And so the first thing, which I thought was really interesting, the fire department said they had a contingency within their fire budget to put me into a hotel, because obviously I couldn't go there. And then my neighbor said she's coming to me for tonight. But I did not stay longer than that with my neighbor. It isn't that I don't love her dearly. It's just like, they're quiet people and I'm noisy, right? So what I did was I said to them, I think I've got a really good insurance policy, and those guys are going to be here tomorrow. So I don't think I'm going to need it. In other words, my insurance will cover it. And I do have the insurance to cover it. And he said, well, if you don't, let us know. Not only that, if you need counseling or anything, it's all part of what we have a budget for. I said, really? That's interesting. And then he said, but quite honestly, unless you have some sort of really peculiar rebound of this one, it doesn't look to me like you are in any sort of, he said, you're in shock that your home is burnt, but he said, you're not in what I call traumatic shock. You're just in, my house just went. So now, here's the next thing. Here I am, and they said, nothing is coming out of that house. And I said, what? And they said, we are actually going to be sealing the house just about. And so nothing is coming out of there. I said, could you hold on? Can you hold on a second? He said, why? I said, I want to get some things out before I hear that story. Sort of thing. But anyway, this is what they have done. The reason I have this new color on is because I don't have any clothes. I literally didn't have anything but the clothes I was standing in, and I wore them and slept in them, and I got up in them and everything else like that. And no, that was today, Sandy. That was part of today's story. So yesterday, I didn't know this. Did you know that you cannot take anything out of a fire environment that is contained in plastic? Did you know that? Couldn't take out any of my medications, couldn't take out anything that was, the only thing I could take out was something that was either in my fridge, but they didn't want me opening up the fridge because the wiring was now all compromised, right? Because the wiring had burned in my house. So what they did is they brought an electrical team in. The electrical team brought a totally new cable to my house and then created a new fuse box, a whole new, what do you call that? Socket box. You know what I'm saying? So they could, and they did that almost immediately, so they could re-plug in my freezer and re-plug in my big fridge, and also that the contractors could use it to start clearing the air. So nothing that was in plastic could be taken out. By the way, nothing in my bathroom or my bedroom, they have that completely sealed because they are scared of possible asbestos because of the age of the home, and they literally rip stuff out of the ceiling. Now, they did say I shouldn't go back in, but you know I've been back in. And what I have taken out, and I do want to show you because it's really quite funny, the things that get important when you're in this sort of situation. Today was another story that I will tell, but I did open up the fridge and I pulled out my sourdough starter because I cannot do that. Okay, am I out of minutes? No, because, good question, Nyasha. On my way back from coming to the hotel the first night, I phoned the pharmacy and warned them. And what I did is, thank you so much, Becca, how much I appreciate that. What I did was I stopped in at the pharmacy. I phoned them first to warn them I was going to be doing it. And I said, I'm going to need new medications. I had just refilled for 3 months. I said, I'm really sorry, but the fire marshal is telling me I am not allowed to take my medications, and you need to replace them all, which they did without anything. I don't know how they did it. So, by the way, this is my new medicine cabinet. You like it? Actually, that can't be the medicine cabinet because there's not enough in it. Oh no, this is the hair stuff. By the way, can't get to anything in my bathroom. I want you to imagine not being able to get to anything in your bathroom or your bedroom. And they will not even open that up for about a week. And then they will pack it up and go and have it scrubbed, as they call. And scrubbing requires that they wash the clothing as many times as it takes to get the smoke out of it. And if the smoke doesn't come out of it, then it'll be part of the claim. Yeah, Jeannie's saying the pharmacy helped. Yeah, my pharmacy didn't even bat an eyelid. He said, Sal, don't worry about it. Pop in on your way whenever you can. I've got rubbing alcohol because I have to test. Ooh, hang on. Sorry, people, but I do have to eat. Okay, so now, no makeup, no deodorant, no toothbrush, no toothpaste, So when I went to the pharmacy to get the meds, I'm thinking, what do I need? And I'm running down this list. Do you happen to have da 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 da? You know, I spent $400 just getting my meds, and you know the supplements I take, and rubbing alcohol, and a new testing meter because I wasn't going to get mine out, and I have spent nearly $2,000 in 2 days because yesterday was the get the medication stuff and all sorted out. Today, I have to go and meet the people who are packing the house. And interesting thing, Megan, very nice lady, all masked up and everything, she said to me, we need to know what you need urgently. What you need urgently. The rest of it you will get. And by the way, it's amazing what they do. And Jeannie, you wouldn't have this because yours was totally demolished. But mine literally are opening up every cupboard and taking a picture of it. And then they pack everything in that cupboard. And then eventually, 6 months from now, or whatever it takes, they will put everything back into the cupboard so that it looks like the picture. Because absolutely everything that's in my house. And this is the bit that I did cry when I heard this. When they said to me, Sal, we're going to have to pack up everything in your house and take it out. And you all know I've spent 7 months unpacking everything to get this far. And the tears just started to come down. And I said, I'm really sorry. I said, but I've just spent 7 months unpacking that stuff. And now it's all going to leave the house again. And then they said, don't worry, it'll all go back where it is. And I said, I don't understand. And they said, we're taking pictures of everything before we pack it. And when the boxes come back, the same crew that has packed it up will be unpacking it, and they'll be looking at the picture, and they will put it all back for you. So when you come back, your house will basically be the same as when you left it. And I said, will they tidy up the kitchen first, though? Because it really was a mess. Or will they leave it just exactly as it was? They like that. But today, Megan, who's the head of the packing crew, she was in the kitchen with me, and she said, what do you need in the kitchen? And I said, well, you know, I wanted the crepe maker in a hurry. And I said, I pointed to the Keurig and the foam maker, and I said, I just want to tell you something. If I leave the hotel and move into wherever it is I'm going to move into next, and we'll get to that story in a second, I said, and my coffee maker and my latte maker are not with me, you do know I will hunt you down and your offspring because my life does not exist without that machine and the latte maker. And she said, I get that message. And I said, okay. But you know what I realized is everything that was in my kitchen is urgent to me. Because we do cooking once a week, right? And I realized that everything that's in the kitchen I use regularly. And so what I said is the kitchen, as it is very important to me, that it gets to wherever I'm going, because regardless of the size I'm going into, I will need it. It's all stuff that I use, everything. Let me tell you that part of the story, because it's possible. Because I have the insurance package that I do, first of all, they moved me into a hotel. I have a hotel that's got a little kitchen in it. It's really messy. You can't see. It's got a little seating area, and then past that, it's got just a little 2-burner stove, a 2-burner top, and a little sink and a little fridge. So that's good. And it's got obviously a bathroom area. So I've got a sort of mini environment. And hi, Jan. Thank you. And so this is just my temporary place. I'm here just until I find where it is that I'm going to go next. I now need to find somewhere that I can go and live for a whole season, maybe half a year. And so they're busy showing me apartments. And by the way, it's quite a generous allowance I get as to how I do that. But I really don't want to go into an apartment. I'm so scared of the COVID thing and living in a block of so forth. And I'm very seriously, thanks, Jan, I'm going out tomorrow because you remember all that looking I did of fifth wheels? It's not about them paying, Jeannie. It's not about them paying. I know they'll pay. Well, in fact, I pay because my insurance will go up. But the thing is, I'm thinking now that I might go and have another look at fifth wheels and see if I can rent one for 6 months and put it somewhere, which will probably be, I'd have far more windows. I would have, a mini environment that I think I could live in. And actually, the insurance people were quite surprised I would consider that. What I also found that they said to me is, obviously, we need to find you somewhere that is modern and in keeping with your present environment. And I said, what does that mean? And he said, well, obviously, you have this beautiful environment and we won't be able to match your kitchen necessarily, but we can get close. And I thought, that's nice that even after all the devastation, that's the impression they got. So tomorrow I'm going to go have a look at the same place that I was originally and say, okay, what have you got that's secondhand that you haven't been able to sell that you would like to make some money on for the next 6 months? Because what I'd like to do, thank you very much, Isabel, I appreciate it. Because what I would like to do is rent it, but I need to go find somewhere to put it. And so that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. And I did say I checked it out with the insurance people. And they said, Sal, you take your time. You get somewhere that you're going to feel comfortable. And by the way, if you make the decision and you're uncomfortable, you just let us know, and we'll change it for you. It's just amazing how kind they have been. And Yasha's saying, be aware of using hand sanitizers. Not to distract you, but I read that a lady used it and immediately went to light a candle and she regretted it. Okay. So yeah, those sort of things are dangerous. By the way, if ever you're without deodorant, as I was, I found that rubbing alcohol is pretty good, but don't shave your armpits first, obviously. Would a neighbor let you park so you could be near? I'm just going to go to an RV park and park it there. Yes, interesting that you should say that, Stephanie. My neighbors have all asked me, who do you insure with? Because they are treating you like a queen. And I said, it's because I pay them like one. I actually have coverage in Canada, remember that, with BCAA, which is the equivalent of AAA in the States. And I have a total package, and I have my car with them. When I had the trailer, my trailer was with them. And now the whole of this, my home, it was insured, but high, total replacement value. But it was expensive. And I was talking to the neighbors about that. I said, understand that I'm paying through the nose to get this level of service. I didn't know I was going to need it, but this I've paid for, right? At the level at which I pay the insurance, I've paid to get this sort of service. That's why they're treating me so well. Jeannie's saying insurance suggested a rundown area for us at first, and we refused. Next, they found this really nice area. Okay, interesting. Wow, thank you, Pat. So kind. I just want you to know that they are not telling me where to go. They are helping me find what I want to go to. You understand the difference? And that's what everybody was so surprised at, because anybody who's been through this was told where to go live. And my people said, Sal, we need you to be happy. And we need you to live in a place that is light. Amazing the words that they use, that is light and elegant and da-da-da-da, just like your place. So, it is amazing that this happens like this. So the next step I have is this: go find whatever. Now, if I can't find that, I may try for a townhouse so that I don't have to, be in. I really am scared about being in an apartment, and they know that. I'm really scared. Plus, you understand, if I get into an apartment building, I have to walk a long way with my groceries. And as you know, I'm not as agile as I was at 50. That was 25 years ago. So, it's just like, so I need to, you park the car and then you got to walk all the way to the elevator with the groceries. And, I buy, or whatever, or your packages. And then you got to move all the way to, down the hallway to get to your apartment. And so I said to them, really, the reason I live where I live now, I park and I just take 3 steps, I'm in my house. Was my car saved? Yes. Yes, it was. But that's another story, but never mind. So what questions do you have, just in case I haven't covered something? The coffee's not the same, I may have to go and buy another coffee maker quickly. Your parking is in front of your apartment. That's wonderful. That's really wonderful that you found that. And that's why I said, it really depends. Jody is saying, thank you for all the love and support for Sal. Oh, yeah. So I really mean that as well. Thank you so much. What else do I need right now that I don't already have? Well, think about it. Think how lucky I am. I think Benji said, you're going to be downsizing all over again because they're going to throw half your stuff out. They're not going to be able to let you have it back. Thank you, Becca, sending a million virtual hugs. What am I doing for my mental health? Being me. What can you do to help? Bless you. That's so kind of you. Quite honestly, I would say that the best thing for my mental health is for me to carry on as usual. I mean, how many times have I done broadcasts from a hotel room before? All right. Now, I might not have the same ability or the time or the mental, to do all the fancy edits and stuff. But, it's just like what I believe is the best thing I can do for my mental health is to be who I am and carry on being who I am. And, it was so funny. I was talking, I bought all this new tracksuits and things today. And a whole bag of makeup. By the way, if the makeup looks a bit different, I'm struggling a bit with what I've got. The post office box is still the same. So now, even the person in the checkout said to me, wow, this is a nice haul or something. And I said, well, you probably wouldn't want to pay the price. And she said, no, it's, it was like, by the time it all added up, it was about $700. And I said, no, I don't mean the money price. I mean, the reason I'm buying all this is because my house went up in flames 48 hours ago. And she said, what? And I said, well, actually 1/3 of it, but the whole house needs to be basically scrubbed. And she said, how come you're so funny? And I said, it's who I am. And she said, but how can you possibly have this attitude when that happened to your home? And she said, so you haven't got any clothes? I said, I have now. And she said, so these are your new clothes? I said, yeah, I can't get to my other ones. By the way, I got one pair of shoes. Luckily, I was wearing good shoes. So that I got good shoes for me. I will probably buy another set. Thank you, Lauren. I bought myself a rain jacket because, it's British Columbia, it's raining, and I need a rain jacket. I bought myself something nice. Don't you think that was clever? I bought a wrap I've always wanted. Becca's saying, I'm fully convinced you're 1 in a million, Sal. Keep being you. It's a great reminder to me as well. Yeah, it just is what it is. Becca, I'm not a churchgoer, but I think I believe very deeply. And I always, when these things happen, I go, okay, what's the lesson here? I fully believe that everything that happens to us is to teach us another lesson. And I'm going, so I didn't downsize enough for you? A big conversation. You didn't like the way I downsized? Oh, somebody asked about the storage shed. That's still fine. And they told me that's great. No problem. Jeannie's saying people gave me sneakers, slippers. I bought another pair of shoes. Yes, my nice, remember my nice Shirling slippers? I'm going to have to try and find those again because they really were so comfortable. And Bernice is saying, you're teaching everyone how to deal with this with a good attitude. Well, I kept saying to the fire people, let me know. And they said, what? And I said, let me know if I scream and shout and throw a conniption and, have a panic attack. Will it be better? Will it make it better? Will the nightmare be over and I'll wake up and it wasn't there anymore? And they went, no. And I went, so I might as well just get on with my life, right? Yes, it's interesting, Jan. How did you know that? I quite agree with you. The phoenix rose again, and so will you. I want to tell you, Jan, you don't know this, but I have said that to myself so many times in the past 48 hours. Thank you. Guys, I really thank you all for your generosity. It's amazing. Jeannie's saying, I wish you didn't have to go through it. Yes, I didn't. I wish that you didn't have to go through it either. But you know something, Jeannie, we will come out the other side. I'm going to come out. If you think about it, seriously think about this. If I can just be patient for one season and maybe a bit longer, I'm going to end up with a beautiful smelling home. I'm going to end up with a new bathroom. And you know what I already said to them was, I know that you will want to redo the bathroom in the same sort of style that it is right now. But my question to you is, when you go to do that, can I talk to you and find out what I can get? And then I know what I need, because I need a shower that I can walk into with a walker in case I end up with one. And that style of shower, I cannot do that. So I need to know, even if I have to throw extra money in to get it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That if I'm going to have them redo my bathroom, it might as well work for me for the next few years, right? Patience is important. Yes, I think it's part of the learning of this. That every day I've been getting up, and all I'm concentrating on, quite honestly, is what do I need to do today? Today, I needed to go and meet with the Packers. Today, I needed to find some underwear. It's pretty important. Because hand washing them wasn't quite doing it for me, and so it's like, don't get too far ahead of yourself. Just deal with what you need to deal with. The funny thing is, I've still got to find out, because it's really weird. I won't be able to be in my house but I can't cut off the the electricity or anything. And I'm thinking I'm not going to be using the Wi-Fi there, and I'm not going to be using the television there. Do I just cut those off for 6 months and then pick it up again when I come back? I think I'm going to have to talk to the suppliers and see what they recommend, because obviously wherever I go, I'm going to need to have Wi-Fi. The other thing, Jeannie, this is a question I wanted to ask you. When you moved to the new place for a short, for that transition time, did you leave your official address as your home that's being rebuilt, or did you change your official address temporarily? I'm not sure what the legal aspect is of that. So if anybody knows that, let me know. Okay, more questions if anybody's got them. I find that it is so important to be grateful. I said to the lady, oh, by the way, the lady at the checkout, I said to her something about be prepared, not scared. And she said, wow, say that again. And I did. And she said, I've never heard that. I said, that's because it's mine. And she said, that is so smart, to be prepared, not scared. My provider for my internet is Sure. So that's on my list eventually. I've got a lot of lists going on at the moment. And I haven't had the time to sit down with them. The other thing I thought was really interesting, I spoke with the insurance company today, and I said, I need to know what the process is about getting money, because I've already spent nearly $2,000 trying to, in 2 days, just getting the basics. And obviously I don't have an unlimited slush fund here. And they actually told me they will be coming with a couple of checks for me on Monday, or they will deposit it directly, whatever they want. So that's good. All right, so Jeannie's saying that for certain things, the address is the original, but we have to change as far as mail, electricity, newspapers, credit card companies. I can still get myself to the post box. I'm not going to be very far away. I will stay. So Sure will work with me. Thank you, Samantha. They are great. Sandy's right. They will put our services on hold. Thank you. Bernice, what I'm going to do is not only keep the receipts, I'm handing them over on Monday. That's what he said. He's going to come and see me on Monday, wherever I am. And, he will give me the checks. I will give him receipts. But before I do, I will be taking pictures of all the receipts. You know that, right? So I really appreciate the fact that you're all wishing to do these kind things. You've got to think how fortunate I am, really. I think this is what I call a first world problem. It's just like I own a house. I already, how many people would love to even own a house? I have incredible friends who came out of nowhere to help me. I've had such kindness shown to me. What I would, something, I appreciate this Go Fund thing. How do I feel about it? I feel I don't receive very well, as you all know. It's not my big thing. But I understand that some of you want to do that. If you do that, then I would say to you, I would put that money towards DearMamaSal, not to me necessarily. Or if the money from the insurance company runs out, then I would use it. But if I didn't use it for that, then I would use it for DearMamaSal, because I would never have met you had it not been for DearMamaSal. I wanted to show you one thing. Let me just get the whiteboard, because I want to show you something. The reason that they will need to replace the whole of my roof, shame, and not just the 1/3 of it. By the way, there might be a little bit of structural damage, which will be, okay, let me try and show you. I got pictures. Now, let me show you, it's easier like this. So if this is my house, like this, okay, the bathroom was in this corner. It was, all right, this first third. And then this middle third got water damage to some degree. By the way, all my QB units and everything, they did say, we're really sorry to tell you that that you may need to get new bedding. I said, no, really? And then I'm going, did the mattress get wet too? No, I need a new mattress. Anyway, but the fire, when I pushed it back up, I pushed it into the ceiling area, and then when they got the pickaxe, the fire axe and everything, they came in. This is my storage shed is here. Sorry, people, I want a pen that's writing, would help. Okay, so my storage shed is right against my bedroom window, almost. You know, there's a very small space between the two. So, Pat's saying, your quilts will be arriving soon. Oh, don't do that chain makeup. So, thank you, Pat. So what they're saying that nothing in the shed was damaged as far as they're concerned, because the smoke went up, not sideways. So, but they did have to destroy part of my house here to get in and get the hoses blasting. But what happened is when they went in with the water, there were no fire barriers throughout the ceiling area. Do you understand that? What happened was all the smoke was billowing all the way down in the roof. And that means that all my insulation, which is whaled, was now messed. So all that had to come out anyway. And because of that, they think the heat would have compromised what was left of the of my roof. So they said, we're going to have to totally replace your roof. Oh, I said. Thank you. So that's why they've got to redo the roof. By the way, they have to completely scrub all of my ventilation system. That's why they got to empty the house, because they've got to get in. All my ducts are going to have to be cleaned. Not only cleaned, but scrubbed. I don't know how they do that, nor do I care. They're going to have to try and scrub down the walls. And if that doesn't work very well, they're going to have to repaint or re-wallpaper my walls. Oh, I don't know what got on there, but it's not very nice. Then they also told me that the water, yes, I would choose colors, absolutely. Yes, my new place caught fire. They also told me that when they pumped all the water in, that the water then went all into the bedroom. So all those units will be waterlogged into my my garage door closets. So all that, whatever was in there is water damage. But then the water ran down the seams of all the flooring. And so because of that, they've got to rip all the flooring out to make sure that there isn't mold starting underneath there. All right, the interesting question. JJ is saying, Sal, stupid question. I don't think it's a stupid question. It's one I asked as well. Can they just let you get a new house instead of doing all this work? I asked the same question. In fact, I said to them, if it makes it better for you to tear this down and just bring me a new double wide, I have a double wide manufactured home, then let's talk about that. I just don't think I'm attached to this, to that degree. All if it's a better deal for you guys, but the truth is, to be able to bring one in with a kitchen as nice as that and everything else, it actually has cost them more. So that isn't. It's a huge job. The community will not help rebuild. They don't have to. The insurance, I assure you, I am giving a lot of people in British Columbia a lot of work. Okay, roofers, the packers have all got jobs, and I asked, I asked the packers, how long have you been doing this? And one of them said she'd been doing it for 9 years. And I said, why? And she said, no 2 days are the same. I said, you must meet a lot of different people and know a lot about them, but just by what you pack. And she said, yes. And I said, try very hard not to judge me. But I also said to the main person, Megan, I said, will you be here to unpack it as well and put it back as it was? And she said, yes, we get to do that as well. And I said, what does that feel like when you know that you have put everything back the way that it was and that the client will walk in and open a cupboard or a drawer and it will be exactly as they left it? What does that feel like to you? And she said, I cry. I said, well, I want to tell you, I'm crying just thinking about it. So I'm sure you must. I said, it must be such rewarding work. And she said, it is. It really is. We see people at their devastation and then we get to give them back their home. And it's a wonderful thing to do. Imagine that. So I got other stories, I think. My one neighbor from down from me, she came with a tote and said, Sal, I think we're about the same size, so here you go. And she just had, got me some hoodies and some sweats. And, I want you to imagine last night I got into the shower and I just tried to get rid of the smell of smoke. And first of all, you're used to the things you have in your shower, but I've spent a lot of time in hotels, so I know all that isn't going to be there. So that was fine. But then I get out of the shower and I'm going, where's my robe? And then I'm not used to using a towel to dry. I always just put on my robe and then I put my hair in one of those roll up things and I've got that. And then I stood there and I go, I don't have a nightie. And then I said, I wonder if there's anything in that bag that she bought me. And it was amazing. Hang on a second. Can I find it? Yes, hang on a second. Isn't that amazing? And so I literally stood there and looked at that, and I went straight to I put it on, and then went straight to my computer, and I wrote her an email, and I said, I need to tell you what just happened. And I told her the whole story about standing there, and I don't even have a nightie. And then I looked in the bag, and you had kindly thought to put something in that I could use as one. I said, how awesome is that? How awesome is that? And so, the other thing was that my neighbors were saying, it's very difficult because they know me pretty well now, right? And they know my sense of humor. And they were sort of saying, Sal, it was almost a case if it had to happen to anybody, in a way, it was so sad that it was you because you've only just moved in and you've just done that. But also, the one neighbor said to me, Sal, I hope you understand what I'm going to say now. But she said, it was almost like, thank God it was Sal, because she's got the mental capacity to be able to cope with it. And I said, how kind of you. And by the way, my neighbor, Betty Ann, who gave me the aero bar, when she sent me home last night, home to my new hotel, and she gave me 4 more bars of aero, big size ones, this size. And I went there today and I said, what are you trying to do? Put me in a coma or something? And she said, what do you mean? I said, I went home and to the hotel and I ate all of them. She said, so I didn't mean for you to eat them all. I said, well, yeah, it's aero. Do you think there was any food in my hotel? And I've got a real problem because I bought her some more. I haven't replaced it all, but I bought some, and it's hanging on the door handle for me to take to her tomorrow. But, I'm scared that it might not get there. What's an arrow? Not sure. Hang on a second. I'm not understanding you, Rinsky. I must have missed something. Arrow. Oh, let me show you. You might not survive if I show you. Now, you probably wonder what they taste like. Hi, Leah. Thank you, honey. So, Rinsky, would you like to know what they taste like? Say yes, Rinsky. This one I found it's called a gold. I'll let you know. Hang on a second. Mint arrow is wonderful. Yes, I agree. But this one is, when you open it up, it looks like that. And then when you taste it, goodbye, Pat. Thank you. And thank you for your very generous gift. Thank you. It just melts in your mouth. It's wonderful. So, can you all see that if I just live one day at a time, I'm going to be okay? If I spend my life thinking about the fact that I cannot get to anything I own for probably at least a month, and even then, most of the stuff, all that stuff I bought for the pandemic, all the flour, the rice, what about, the only thing that's good is that they've got my freezer, so that will stay as it is. They opened it up to test the air quality in it to make sure none of the smoke got in there. And now they found that it was clear. And so they closed it up and now they will just leave it and it'll just be fine. Which is good because there's a lot of money in there. Oh, and so, so good. But I did admit to the insurance people that I did go in today. And I said to them, I did go into the fridge. I'm sorry. You know what the guy said? You went in after that sourdough started, didn't you? I said, yep. So I thought you'd probably like me to do the experiment Is it possible to bake bread in a saucepan? Would any of you like to know whether that's doable? And how many of you know if it works, then the smell of baking bread down this hotel lobby will probably have a whole new business going on by the end of the week? Vinsky's saying, I don't know what happened with the fire. I came in late, but I'm so thankful you're okay and safe. Yes, I am more than okay. Hi, Jonas. I am absolutely fine as far as I know. And my house, not so much. The damage was such that I will not be able to be back there for probably anywhere between it could be 6 months, and depending on if the structural damage is deemed to be needed, then it could take more than 6 to 9 months, because I have to get permits, or they will have to get permits and everything. But the good news is I don't have to do it. You know what I mean? I don't have to oversee it. I don't have to worry about it. I will probably have to make a decision here and there as to, what color paint or what sort of tiles. They'll give me a choice between 4 tiles. Yeah. So, and Jeannie had the experience with hers where, they want to give you these sort of replacement and you don't want them. My job's to look after me. So think about this as a learning thing. Can you understand that the best thing I can possibly do for my mental health, the best thing I can do to keep myself occupied is just to carry on living my life as close to normal as I can. Does that make sense to anybody? Well, Rinsky, everybody's being so incredibly generous on this. So I'm very, very thankful to you all, but do you understand that for the most part, my insurance is going to cover what I need? And so there's part of me that goes, I don't want to say no, because it's a wonderful gift that you're all asking to give. But I think let's talk about it once I've got wherever I'm going. All right. Or when I get back to my home and realize what they couldn't replace. Yeah. Great. So that's what I'm doing. I've got a monumental to-do list. I'd love to show you I'm sitting around doing nothing, because that's not true. Actually, my biggest challenge at the moment, and I do want to tell you that as a challenge, as a very strong doer of things, my biggest challenge is just to limit the amount that I'm doing. So today I knew I was going to do a broadcast, and you all know that takes quite a bit out of me to do a broadcast. But so I said, okay, I will go to the meeting with the Packers in the morning. I had to be there by 10. I ordered up breakfast for 8 o'clock. And I had breakfast, which I don't normally do. And then I went to the meeting and I stayed with the Packers for a couple of hours. And then I went to visit Betty Ann and her husband. And I had her laughing so hard she didn't know what to do. And then I went to Walmart. And I got the basic clothes and makeup and a hairbrush. My hair looks a lot better today than it's looked for 2 days. So all those sort of things. And I had to buy new brushes to put the makeup on with. And, I'm just not going to see a lot of that stuff again. And so now tomorrow I will think more about what am I eating. I've tried to sort of be not too strict with myself in terms of my blood sugar, because I'm pretty sure that, I just need to do whatever I can. Thank you, Jody. I just need to do whatever I can to just be normal as I can. And yes, that's good. And Yash is saying, Sal, in my country, bake can be done made on a pot and a stove. It's called a Dutch oven for a reason, right? It's similar to bread, and this thing is different. It's made on the stove top instead of being baked. Yes, I've got a saucepan here with a lid, and I'm thinking, I bet you know I'm going to try it. Yeah, it's just what I do, right? The hotel doesn't offer any food, but they bring food in because of the COVID and everything. But they bring food in for breakfast. You have to order it, which I've already done for tomorrow. And then you go and you don't go and sit down or anything. They literally have a tray with your breakfast on it, and you get the tray and you take it back to your room. I'm going to do some bit of research to find out how to do that. But I thought, I was pretty sure that you guys are going to be fascinated to see what can Sal cook on 2 little rings in her hotel room. Yeah, of course you'd love to see the result, right? And that's who I am, right? That's being me. That's making the best I can of what I've got. How lucky am I? I've got a beautiful bed. I've got a TV. I've got an ironing board and an iron. I've got a mirror. I became a bag lady today. I decided I've got all these bits that I'm having to carry around, and I decided to get one of those big duffel bags, that the hockey players have on wheels. So I became a bag lady. You're going to see that. I did a video on that. So, it's like I'm trying to have fun. All right. So, yes, Jeannie's saying they had a breakfast bag containing a drink, coffee, a piece of fruit, and an entree. Yep. It's a whole new series. All right. And so now, and wouldn't it be absolutely amazing if all that research I did into fifth wheels and stuff like that now comes to be what I need to do for just one season? Do you understand that that means that all that research I did a year ago had a reason that I didn't know about at the time? And so to me, it's very exciting. And you know that Benji called me and had a huge talk to me, and what could he do to help? Of course, what could he do to help? And Dougie, what could he, and Dougie's moving. I said, Dougie, do me a big favor. What you can do to help me is to know I don't need your help. I'm doing just great. And I promise you, if I'm not doing great, I'll let you know. But you carry on, you're moving in a couple of weeks. And I said, believe me, I know what your life's like at the moment. I've been there and done that. So you concentrate on you. If I need you, I will let you know, I promise you. But right now, I'm doing just fine. I said, by the way, how do I sound? He said, strangely normal. I said, exactly. Everybody's been saying that. Niash is saying, I don't know if it's steamed, but when the mixture is made and the dough is rolled out, instead of placing the pan in the oven, it's placed in the pot. That's what I'm going to do a bit of research first. So anybody wants to help me on that, that's great. The fun part is I have great friends and family, and all of you to support me. Exactly. Think how incredibly. You see, we're all that lucky, right? The whole reason that I started DearMamaSal was to be an extended family. When I was standing there with the cop, and I said to him, he's saying, and how do you spell your name? And I'm busy spelling my name. And at the same time, I'm activating my phone, and I pressed the record because I knew if I didn't get that picture of those flames coming out of my house right then, I might never get them. And, it's just like when I took all that broadcast, not only the broadcast equipment, but the lighting and everything else that came out of the house first, I went, I am seriously messed. I am seriously missed that my first things out were not my passport and my wallet. And by the way, I don't know if any of you remember, but when the pandemic started, I went to the bank and I took a large amount of cash and I hid it in the house in case things went south. And guess where I hid it? In the bathroom, where the fire was. So when the fire marshal came to me, I said, "Sir, I got one really big favor to ask of you." And he said, "What's that?" I said, "I know that the bathroom is a devastation area, but is there any way you can get in there? Because it's really important that you do." And he said, "Because," I said, "I've got a stash of cash in $100 bills in a cupboard behind the door of that bathroom." And I said, "I don't know whether it's survived the water. If so, it's now laundered money." Because you guy will have washed it for me. But I said, "I need my money." And I said, before they rip it apart and what, or somebody else finds it, I said, "Could you go look?" And I said, "Let me draw where it is." He said, "You don't need to draw where it is. You paint such incredibly good pictures with your words. Just tell me." I thought that was interesting. And I said, "Okay, so you're going to stand and open that cupboard door?" And he said, "Uh-huh." I said, "I think there are 3 shelves: eye level, belly button, and knees." And he said, "See, perfect description." I said, "The belly button shelf. It's got a cubie, one of those square things that you've seen everywhere and wondering, you know, am I a square peg in a round hole? All those square things, there's one of those on the left-hand side. Got it? Yeah, yeah. I said, "It's not in there. It's behind there." He said, "How smart is that?" It's behind a door that's behind a door. And then it's not in the cubie that would be, nobody's ever going to find anyway, because they never knew that there was a door behind the door. But then you get it. And I said, "Exactly. That's why I put it there." And he said, and 10 minutes later, here you go. Now, you want to know the funny thing? How many of you know I didn't bring that money to my hotel room? Okay. So I didn't bring it to my hotel room. I handed it over to my neighbor who's got a safe. And I said, "If I find that you've gone to Hawaii next week, I'll know what happened to my money." But I am going to take them for dinner this week because they have been so fabulous. It's wonderful. So, by the way, do you think I'm making all this up, that I'm feeling pretty zen, or do you know it to be true? Let me see. How many of you think I'm putting this on? Anybody? And the question I have is, can you work out what I have to do? Not have to. Can you work out what I choose to do to be able to be in this space? So, think about it, because you've got the answers. What do I need to do to just stay in this space and not panic and not cry about the loss? Not worry about, will it be 3 months or 6 months or maybe 9? Yes, Sandy's saying you look forward, not back. How many of you know this amused me? This is like, I know Sandy's going to crack up so will Jody, and the rest of you who know about me and my sourdough bread. This is like, and I even said to Betty Ann, "I'm going to go and get the sourdough started, Betty Ann. Don't worry, you will still get bread from me." And they're going, "Sal," and I'm going, "Really? How are you going to cook it?" I said, "I have no idea, but I'll find out." Jody's saying you aren't putting it on. Not in a million. You're staying in reality. It is what it is, and you're focusing on how lucky you are. By the way, when I left here to drive to my house, no, that wasn't what I did. I decided, when I finished shopping at Walmart, guess where I drove to? Home. And as I literally got to the entrance to the property, and I went, "You don't live here anymore, Sal. This is the Bernie place. This is the singed." I think I'm going to have to call it St. John. This is the singed place, Sal. You need to turn around and go with it back again. You live in a hotel now. But you understand, I'm laughing all the way. You see, Jody, you understand? So, Sal, that's not how you bake bread, not with a fire. Don't start another fire. Isabel saying, you're such an inspiration. I love your sense of humor in a difficult time. You know something? It's not about a sense of humor in a difficult time. This is who I am. It just brings, in a way, it brings out the best of me, don't you think? Jan saying, one day at a time. Yep, one step at a time. Don't overwhelm. I had, I'm going, hey, I just was saying, you know that? I was just saying days ago, a week ago, I need a couple of new, now that I live this new lifestyle, I want a couple of tracksuits for the fall. And I was trying to justify, spending the money on those. Well, guess what? Today I went, you need those now. What color shall I get? I think I'll get a color I don't normally wear. So I'm glad that Becca liked it. And then you want to see the other things I got? Maybe we'll save that for another broadcast. But you understand, I had fun going and buying clothes. And, and then it was like, I had new bras. I was actually saying it's change of season. You need, some new bras. Well, I got those today. Got new undies. I had fun. So to me, what I'm trying to say to you is, I can't change St. John, right? It's done. And by the way, I when I went in there today, you don't think it's bad, but I want to tell you, when I went in there today, just the living area now is just, you just walk in there and you get hit by that smoke smell. I've brought some things back with me, even though I wasn't meant to. I literally tried to think, what am I going to need? So I brought more lighting, my tripod, People would have bought the family pictures now. I bring the tripod and certain other things. And what I notice is everything that I bring in has a slight smoky smell to it. Every now and then you'll lean over the computer and you can just smell that it's still there. Is my table still standing? You mean my dining room table of glass and stone? Yep. The fire was the other end. But they will have to take it away and they will have to, they do some sort of ionic cleaning to it to get all the soot out of the stone and out of everything they told me. The only thing that smoke does not get into is glass. Basically, if it is anything, glass, they can literally just put and clean the glass and what's inside will be fine. But anything that is in plastic, anything that is in any other sort of container other than glass is going to be permeated. So not only will my cupboards be full again, but you understand most of them will be full of new stuff because they will need to replace what was in those packages. What about the photos? Which photos? My family photos? Yes, it's a surprisingly good thing to have glass containers, not plastic. Yes, the laptop smells of smoke. They are going to be taking it away. I wasn't going to not you have my laptop. So what they're going to be doing is they will take it away, but I've said I will let them have it after the weekend, after I've done my broadcast. I have my priorities. And I said they can take the laptop from Monday as long as it's back on Thursday. And then when they bring that back, I will send my tablet And I don't think I'm going to send my phone at all, because my phone is actually due to be renewed. Family photos. I don't know how to say this to you because it'll probably break your heart, Becca, but I lost all my family photos when I moved to Canada. I have few. Now, are you ready for this one, Becca? I have a few in one box, which is labeled memories. And to keep it safe, I put that box in the bedroom. And as you know, after the devastation of the... You want to see the devastation now before... I know I'm over time just about, but I'm pretty sure if you've held on this long, you probably want to see the devastation. So let me see if I can find you those pictures. I've got to think who sent them to me. Okay, so wrong one. Hold on a second. Okay, what I will do is for the next broadcast, I will try and get those photographs ready for you so that you can see them. How's that? I have sent them to a couple of people that are close to me. I also sent them with a warning. The funny thing is, the front end of the house looks exactly as it did. It just, you can't see the smell. The middle third of the house, which is where the craft area is, it's covered in dust, and you can tell that it's been affected, and the water obviously got to it. But you start to break your heart when you see, I don't know if any of you remember the pictures of my bedroom, but it really was and quite cute. And it doesn't look like that right now. And then you turn the corner and you see the bathroom. And you see the ceiling is down on the floor, fiberglass, and, the insulation stuff is all on the floor. You can see the walls are wrecked, sort of thing. And by the way, the studio or second bedroom, they cut through a hole in there to make sure that they could attack the fire from both sides. And by the way they did that was they pulled the hose through my living room area, through my lobby area, if you like. Thank you, Jerry. I really appreciate that. And so there was damage done, as that hose got ripped through my house. But, they were on a mission. And I really thank them for that. They were on a mission to save my house. And the fact that a few things, yeah, it happens. So, given the big scale of things, would I rather have a few ornaments that were broken and a house that will be even better when I see it again? Well, I can still go to the house, right? Think about that. I can still do the things I want to do in the garden. The cold weather comes. I can still go there and visit my neighbors. But you see, what if Jerry's saying, I'm so sorry you're going through this, but you see, Jerry, what if I meant to go through this? What if this is just another learning lesson for me? And I was thinking, who's got more experience of living in a hotel rooms than I have, just about. So I thank you so much, Jerry. But, you've known me a long time, right? And you know, I just roll with the punches. This is the next lesson, then let me learn from it. And let me see what I can teach you guys. And I'm presuming that you guys want me to carry on updating you in terms of what's happening and how I'm coping with it. Yes, just saying Dropbox can also be accessed for all devices. Yes, I've got a Dropbox thing. Yes, you go all the way back to Tiny Chat. Yes, and do you go back as far as Blog TV? Before it dissolved in March of 2013. I can tell you, I remember the day very well. Yes, and so this is the whole thing that I wanted to do is maybe that's the lesson here, that, that you guys, will continue to learn new lessons as I learn new lessons. But, wouldn't you be excited to get 4 new outfits today? And you want to see the makeup as well? It's like, what did I get? And I got new brushes, got a new toothbrush, and the only thing I haven't found yet is my Lubriderm, and that's very important to me. Why don't we'll do all that sort of stuff on Sunday? How about that? All right. Because that's, it's pretty fun stuff, right? And see, that's what I'm doing. Every day I'm trying to do something that makes me happy. Oh, the story about the new glucose meter. Do you want it now? I want to tell you, that is a story. Yeah, it's the new phase. Okay, I've got to tell the story because some of you are going to like that. Okay, hang on a second. I got to get it for you. Hold on. Oh, I'm missing a bit. Hang on. Where's the other bit? Okay, so we know that I need to check my blood sugar over time. Yeah. So, I even though I had arrows, I knew I had to just bite the bullet and do it anyway. So I bought one on the way home. Cost me an arm and a leg and 3 bodies. So I sit down, and I've never seen this particular one, but it's the one that he gave me, and it's called the One Touch Vario. So I'm going, how difficult can it be? Yeah, fine. Now, this was last night, remember? And also, I don't have to worry because everything's on YouTube. Well, that's not true. Because the very simple instruction of how on earth do you put the thing into the thing was not covered. But apparently it was in the booklet. Now, do I need to show you the size of the writing in the booklet, or can you all imagine it? Because I do understand that my reading glasses were not high on my list of things I had to get out of the house for some reason. So I'm going, what do you mean, read the booklet? I can't read the booklet. I don't have eyes that will read the booklet. So I'm angry, right? YouTube. Gotta go to YouTube. Sorry, go to YouTube. Well, I want to tell you, I tried just about everything surely, and I'm doing all this talking to myself, and I am ready across the room. But eventually, I got, but it took me about an hour. The big trick about if you need a magnifying glass and you haven't got your reading glasses or whatever, there is a big trick. Get your phone out. I found this out a long time ago. Get your phone out, okay? And then go to your camera, right? You get your camera going and then just expand the picture and it gives you a magnifying glass. Does that make sense to everybody? Because you can literally just use it then as your own reading glasses. So, I did plan B on that one. It took me, even so, it took me about an hour. And twice I threw it down and said, I was going to take it to the pharmacy and said, you set it up. Because really, I haven't got the patience for it. But I got it to work. And here was the funny thing. After those 5 aero bars, 5, and they weren't little bars, they were the big ones. And I also, that day, I had poutine, if you remember. I went and got poutine. And my blood sugar was 7.2 and I couldn't take it because I couldn't get it to work until after breakfast. And it was 7.2 after breakfast, which in American, hang on. Strange noise in the house. 7.2 in American would be, I've got this magic list that tells me now, 130 after a meal, which, if you know anything about blood glucose, is not bad. And so I went to say to Betty Ann today when she was saying, you ate all 5 of them? I said, yeah, I thought you were trying to get me into a sugar coma. And she said, my God, are you okay? I said, yeah, actually, I'm really good. After breakfast this morning, I was 7.2. And she said, how is that possible? I said, I have no idea. Thank you. Now, it may be delayed. Well, Becca, you guys just never did get with the program and go metric, I think it was too complicated for you guys, right? Oh, Jody's putting up the address. Interesting. It's on the website. If you go to the DearMamaSal website, DearMamaSal.com website, there is a contact us thing and the address is there if ever you want it. I think so. It's interesting. Bernice is saying, I think because of the high stress situation, your body dealt with what it needed. I think so too. Yeah, I know RuneScape was just way too complicated for Americans to go metric. They just said, we're not doing that. Rest of the world changed. I think America and 2 other countries didn't change, right? You have to go through YouTube. For what, honey? Oh, interesting. Sandy's saying her blood glucose drops when she's in high stress. Okay. Interesting. Bernice is saying, because when I'm high stressed, I need more food. Interesting, right? It was my body's use of the flight or fight mechanism. I needed those bars. Yes, funny enough, it probably was exactly what I needed to have. To get to your website, hang on a second. What did Lauren say? Have you tried it today? Because I did have it fixed, Lauren. When it was causing a problem, it got fixed. Oh, really? Okay, well, I'll Jody, could you put it on my follow-up list, please, so that I can look at it? I won't look at it today or tomorrow, but I will look at it. Okay, I will ask the website people why. That's very kind of you to let me know. Thank you. All right, so here we go. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. And what really, let me ask you, those of you who are here, when you hear the story, what stands out for you in terms of how was I able to stay calm? All right. What do you think the answer was? Because if you can see what I needed to do in order not to panic during the fire, and that saved my house. By the way, I don't recommend covering yourself in fire retardant. It wasn't an intentional thing. So to me, Bernice is saying the calmness is you and the way we have prepared and practiced for the whole lifetime. Yes. Remember, being in the hamster wheel is not going to save your house. Being in the hamster wheel is not going to help anybody or anything. Being on the hamster wheel when you're giving instructions on how to get to your house. How many people, when they said, which service do you require? I said, fire. And she said, did you say fire? I'm going, seriously? I said, yes. I said, fire. And then my address is, and I very slowly and deliberately gave them my address. Bernice is saying, the calmness is you and the way you've prepared and practiced for her lifetime. Yes. But Kimmy is saying, it is going to hit you later, Sal. Really? I don't think so. I really don't, Kimmy. I mean, I know that's what you probably think is going to happen, but if I'm processing this all the time. I'm not stuffing it down. I am processing this. I'm having the feelings I need to have. I'm just not on the hamster wheel having them. So I know a lot about processing that I didn't know 10 years ago. I can tell you that. So it'd be interesting. Lauren's saying, Sal, you've certainly put my life into perspective this week. Yeah. Jody's saying, I couldn't have done it. Your bravery and calmness are beyond admirable. You kept the fire at bay and saved your home. Remember, not my home, but also my neighbors. You understand, these units are very close to each other. If that fire had got out of control, it would have taken my neighbors as well. And they didn't have the sort of insurance I had, I can tell you that. Nyasha's saying, I would have never thought to push the source of the fire, which starts into the house, up into the roof to avoid it from spreading into the house. Yeah. And I wouldn't recommend anybody else do it, right? I have to tell you that. The smart money is get out of the house and let the house burn. I'm not joking. That's, even the fire marshal said, he said, I'd never recommend that you do what you did. I said, yeah, I know that. And he said, but you've dealt with fire before, haven't you? And I said, yep. And by the way, I saved 3 children and a husband and wife that day. And he said, yeah, I can tell by the way what you did, he said, is not usual. He said, that's the sort of thing, somebody with a full mask and everything else would do, but not something that your run-of-the-mill homeowner would do. And I said, no, I'm not your run-of-the-mill homeowner. Jody's saying, tell your loved ones how you feel, friends. We are never promised a tomorrow. Thankfully, Sal was spared. Amen. Yeah, but you do understand how important it was for me to get my stuff together enough to do at least 1 broadcast today. I knew I couldn't do 2 because I didn't have the ability in terms of time, because there were critical things I had to deal with. And I believe some people were muttering about the fact I was too quiet. Well, hello, people. I've been a bit busy. Really, more than a little bit busy. And, I literally am sitting here. And by the way, my watches decided to break as well at the same time. And all my straps and everything for my watch. And it's not this, it's actually this bit that's broken, I think. So I'm going to have to get a new Fitbit. But I'm pretty sure that won't be covered under the insurance. So it's fallen off about 3 times today. Bernice is saying, that's why I wanted to undergo fire training and basic life and advanced life training as well, because it's be prepared. Yeah, it's really quite simple. It's panic will not get you out of trouble. Panic will not get you out of trouble. What gets you out of trouble is thinking. And so in an emergency, if you possibly can, You know I was terrified, right? You do get that. I don't want you to think I'm some sort of, automaton that didn't feel terrified. I assure you, I was terrified beyond belief. But whilst part of me was terrified, I was saying to myself, being terrified could lose you your house. Now act, do the right thing. What do you know? And find the source of the fire. Okay, now my toilet seat, those were completely, I've never seen a flaming toilet seat before. They go up like a Roman candle, I tell you. And then to watch that stuff drip in front of me, and I'm going, oh my God, And so you look at it all. Oh, thank you, Becca, for my Fitbit help. So literally, and then I knew exactly where the fire extinguisher was. How many of you have a fire extinguisher, and how many of you know exactly where it is and it never moves? And how many of you know how to use it? That actually, Nyasha, that is brilliant. I was scared to be scared. That is so clever. Jody, could you write that down? I'd like to quote that. I was scared to be scared. I was scared. I was terrified. I really do want you to know that I was terrified. I don't want you to think that, amazing, Sal can just put that all in but terrified is what I could not afford to be. I needed to act. I needed to do something. Remember that? Get off the hamster wheel and do something, because that's what's going to save your house. Okay, so Sakura, it's under the kitchen sink, and another one in the hall outside our front door. Yeah, you see, and that's, you need to, and by the way, I would really recommend that you do not have them in a cupboard. I really recommend that you have your fire extinguishers. I have mine sort of in a corner next to a solid bit of furniture, right? So that I can just grab it quickly and go. And that saved my house. And so I would like you to take that as a major message from this broadcast, which is be prepared for a fire. I hope you never have to deal with one, but be prepared, have a fire extinguisher. And also understand that fire goes upwards, all right? You understand that. The fire heat rises. So if you can keep the fire contained high, the only place it's going to burn is the roof. Now, it can burn the ceiling, if it gets hot enough again, but what your job is to try and keep the flame away from the inside core of the house. And, because the insulation is a fire retardant in itself. So when my fire got put out, the embers caught, but they caught the rafters on the roof and the shingles and stuff, right? So, all right, interesting. Rinsky saying my house burnt down when I was a teen, and I don't know where my fire extinguishers are now. Okay, so that's my lesson to you. And the other thing is, no amount of screaming, performing, acting like a 3-year-old. Kimmy, I wondered if anybody was going to ask me that. Kimmy is asking what happened to your paintings. I've got to relook at the pictures to see what happened to my favorite paintings, which were in my bedroom. I'm pretty sure I know what happened to them. The ones in the living room and other areas, I know one was on the floor. When they rushed through with the hoses, I know they knocked one on the floor. I didn't even pick it up because they will pick it up and they will do whatever cleaning they have to do, and either they will get the smell out or they won't. The main one, the big ones that I still have boxed up, were in cardboard boxes, and because they were so precious to me, they were in my bedroom. And I actually did ask the fire marshal guy any idea about how bad the water was, because those big boxes in my bedroom, and one of them was on the floor, flat on the floor. 3 of them were on end, but one of them was actually flat on the floor, and that's where all the water went. So, and Nasha also asked about the painting. Sorry, Nasha. So I don't know. And let's just think about that, right? They either will survive or they won't. And think about it. If my paintings didn't survive, will I still carry on my life? Yeah? Is it gonna affect my life if I lose those paintings? Or will it just be stuff that I've lost? And I am here and able to paint more if that's what I want. And by the way, I got way too many paintings for the size of my house anyway. So it's just like, as Benji said, it's forced downsizing again. So it's all about how you look at it. I just keep looking for a positive. Is there a positive? I want to tell you, I moved from, you mean that the whole of my bathroom ceiling came down? And then I said, did it break the glass in my shower stall? Because, I wanted a new shower stall. And the guy said, no. I said, really? Are you serious? And he said, but don't worry. He said, the devastation in there, they're going to have to pull it out anyway. I said, why? And he said, because there's so much water went into that room, they've got to pull everything out of that room to make sure that they get the floor underneath it totally dry. So don't worry, you're going to get a new bathroom. I went, okay. So thank you all for being here. I hope I've answered most of your questions. If you think about it, life really just is a series of lessons, right? And I have discovered that as soon as I learn one lesson, then life brings me another. I go through life 103, and then it says, okay, you passed 103. Now let's go to 104. See how you like that one. And then I, go through 104. And then it goes, hi, Sal. Yeah, you did quite well on 104. How do you like 105? This is DearMamaSal saying, keep your sense of humor, people. It will keep you going. And remember, life is unfolding as it should. You will be sent the lessons you need to learn. Some of them are not fun. But you know something? It was made so much more fun because you were all here. I had a reason to get my stuff together and to do a broadcast. And I have given myself a lot of good feelings by doing it. I am amazed at the generosity of everybody. And here is the thing. The whole reason we do DearMamaSal is to help people through good times and bad. And occasionally, it's going to be me. I am not immune. As I keep trying to tell you, I am just doing the same life thing that you are. I seem to, it's just like, I am not immune. And that's how we learn. This is DearMamaSal saying, you can do this. Stay out of the hamster wheel. Survival is more important than stuff. And to me, that's how I think. Survival is more important to me than stuff. However, what I did was the house was more important to me in that moment than anything. And the fire marshal said to me, Sal, it could have blown to you rather than away from you. But he said, quite honestly, with what you did, when you went down and killed the source of the fire on the toilet seat and then went up and pushed by blasting all those flames up, he said, I don't know what inspired you to do that. But he said, I'm so glad you did, because it was an amazing bit of intuition. And you really, we would be looking at a shell of a house right now, and maybe a couple more. And so even my neighbors, I have to say, my neighbors know. I don't know how they found that out. Maybe the fire people told them, but my neighbors know that what I did saved their houses. That I was not responsible for the fire. It was an act of unfortunate situation, but they made sure the neighbors knew that the actions I took probably saved a couple more houses, not only mine. So that was very kind of him. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, life is what it is. Let's enjoy it. And even the bad times are good if you want them to be. Bye-bye for now, people. I'm going to go to sleep.